Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alicia Dianne Art. I am Alicia Dianne, and we are doing our book club review. So, in this session, we're going to be covering Selling for Dummies. This is our second session covering Selling for Dummies. So, this past week, actually, we missed last week. I was out, but this last reading, we did chapters 2 and 3. So, in chapters 2 and 3, it was actually a pretty long read. It took me like a couple of hours to get through those two chapters. 2 was a little bit faster than 3. 3 was pretty hefty and just subjects and just the length of things, that the way he described everything, it was described really well. It just took a while to get through it all because it was quite a lot. So chapter 2, we discussed the 7-step selling cycle. So what that is was basically like breaking down the natural flow of a sale. And I know you guys who are just maybe joining me, maybe wondering, why are we doing a selling book? I think it's really important for artists to understand entrepreneurship. I believe that every artist is an entrepreneur, and whether you're interviewing for working with studios, or you're interviewing clients to work with, or you're just at an art fair trying to sell your pieces, or even like your comics, all of that requires sales skills. I probably should have closed the window before I started talking. But all of that does require sales skills. So I think that it's really important to just kind of understand how it works, get better at it. I know a lot of us are introverted. That's even more reason why we need to work at this. So that's why I really think that this book is important. I started reading it years ago. I got it from a library and then I just never finished it. But it was really, that was before I got really more strict on myself of like actually taking time out to read and to build skills. So I started all over again with this book. So right now we're doing chapter 2, and these 7 steps to the selling cycle are just like the natural flow of the way a sale is supposed to go, or a sale should flow if you're doing it properly, I guess. So the first step is a prospecting, and that's really just, finding the client, and finding not just any client, but finding the client that's right for you. So you gave some tips on that. The next step is making initial contact. So that is getting them to want to talk to you. So whether that you're doing opt-ins or you're offering something, you just want to make it like palatable for them to want to talk to you. You want to make it fun for them to want to talk to you, and you want to make it sure that it's benefiting them. So you want to make things as easy as possible. Don't give them like an overwhelming amount of dates or times to pick from when you're trying to pick an appointment time. You want to kind of simplify things for them, giving them like 2 options to meet with you. So just things like that to kind of make it easier to talk to people and get them to want to talk to you as the seller. The next step was qualifying. So qualifying was just like, you're asking questions, finding out what they need, finding out that you guys are the right fit for each other, and just, solidifying that so that they know that you are the right fit for them. This next step would be 4, and that is winning over clients with your presentation. So in this presentation is what I never really realized before, because I never formally had like a sales presentation. I kind of just spoke about what I did and just explained it, but this is really like taking the time ahead of the time that you meet with them to really just make sure that you are answering any potential questions, knowing what all of the benefits are. I think even if you have a slideshow or something to show them, whether you're going through that on a Zoom call with them, just having something that you're going to show them that's going to make them know that working with you is worthwhile. And okay, so number 5 would be addressing concerns. So that's any potential problems. If they have any like things that are maybe stopping them from working with you, you want to make sure that you're able to answer that. And you want to try and think what those are beforehand. But if they bring them up, you want to keep a mental note so the next time that you meet with somebody, you're able to resolve that sort of a question they have, and be able to do that in a way that they still feel confident about you and the work that you're trying to sell them, or anything like that. You want to make sure that they're comfortable with what you're selling. The number 6 was closing the sale. So that's just like a lot of what he, that was a really short little part, but it was really like about being confident and knowing like being confident that they're going to say yes in the first place, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know if I've ever approached it in that way, but it made a lot of sense for me. I'm totally a noob at this, I feel like, or I feel like that was just. I considered sales definitely like my weakness, and so it made a lot of sense to just be confident in assuming the sale. Give them paying options so they don't feel overwhelmed if prices they're concerned. You want to kind of ease that situation. You want to make sure that they're able to afford what you're offering, but you want to also make it easier for them. And then number 7 was the getting referrals. So you want to ask for referrals like immediately as soon as they say yes to whatever you're buying. You want to ask them like, do you know anybody? Like, and get their contact like right away. That's basically what he was saying. And you also want to part of that was like sending thank yous right away. So you make sure that you keep that client as a potential client for the future as well. You don't want to like cut them off after that first time. You want to keep them, in your contact list as someone else who might buy from you again. All right, chapter 3 is what to sell. So that was a lot about self-analysis. I realized a lot of it was just about like knowing who you are and knowing like what your own strengths are. And I really got out of this one is that you should love what you're selling. That was basically the idea. And this was a pretty long chapter, but a lot of it was really to enjoy what you're selling. And if you don't like your job, it's probably because you're not good at it. I thought that was kind of interesting. I think there's more ways than one. I think it could be that you're just less than passionate about it, or that there's something missing there. So he did talk a lot about like, you're being at your job that you're also like selling. So whatever it is that you're doing, you should be passionate about it, because potentially that is what you're selling. So you should be passionate about it. You should enjoy it. And if you don't, then you should probably not be in that position, or either that or learn to like it. And if you don't feel like you can learn to like it, then it's probably time to move on. He's also talked about making what you do feel like a hobby. So basically whatever it is that you're doing, like in the sales, it should be like something that just you do constantly, something that you've just flows naturally for you. So it's something that you're gonna have to get really used to doing. Another thing that he also mentioned here was just kind of like what was I gonna say? I think I forgot what I was gonna say. About continuously learning. So like the idea is that you never stop growing, and I think that's kind of how we already are naturally as artists. We always want to keep on growing, keep on learning, and keep on getting better. But he was talking about making that a continuous habit for you as well, as continuing to take seminars, listen to videos, read books, and just continuously do that and never feel like you are too much of an expert. It also talks about getting out of your comfort zone and the stages of competency. So like once you're getting yourself out of your comfort zone, like how you move from being a newcomer, even if it's like he noted it around sales, but I think it's really around anything that you want to master. It's just like the 4 steps for unconscious incompetence, and that's when you have no idea that you suck. Conscious incompetence means, okay, you realize that you're not good at this, but you want to make an effort. And the conscious competence is like, all right, you're making a continuous effort to get better, and you are aware that you're growing. And the unconscious competence is like you can just like do it in your sleep, that you've done it so much and you feel confident in it, and you just keep working. So those were the stages of competence. And let's see, knowing how to sell what your customers want to own. So that was basically the idea, which I thought was kind of conflicted with what he previously said about loving, what you're selling. And this part he's kind of like, you don't have to love what you're selling. But I think the idea was that realizing that everything that you sell is not going to be your favorite thing, but being more aware of what your client needs than to what your favorite thing is. So I could have like 5 different paintings, let's say at an art fair, and like 4 of them are super bright and colorful, and I tend to love that, and I just love things that are in my house that are bright and pink and everything. But if my client wants something that is more like muted or mellow, then and I have one piece that's like that, then I'm gonna lead them towards that one, because that one is the one that's best suited for their needs. So just being aware of what your client needs over what your favorite thing is, I think that kind of speaks for itself. It makes sense. So after we finish this chapter, we move into part 2, and that one is doing your homework before you sell anything. So that's what we're going to be doing for next week. Next week we read chapters 4 and 5. So understanding potential clients, and then number 5 is selling what your product does instead of what it is. So those should be pretty interesting. I think they look like kind of like a long read as well. So make sure you set aside the time, and I'll make sure I set aside the time to be able to read. But I think it's really good to actually read something physical. I like to listen to audiobooks too, but I kind of feel like this is a nice bonus. So I hope that you guys are reading along with me, and if you haven't already, you can go ahead and pick up the book. It is on Amazon. I think it's like 20 bucks or something like that, but go ahead and get it. It's really good, and I think you will enjoy being a part of this book club with me. So go ahead and do that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, be grateful, live balanced, and be yourself. Bye bye.